Up and at 'em, Apocalypse Scouts. This is part 2 on self-defense for the AI apocalypse. As Franklin Delano Roosevelt might have said, had he been elected for a 23rd term in office, we have nothing to fear but fear itself, and sentient autonomous robots. And he'd have a point. But at the moment, no matter how smart these algorithms get, we still have something they don't. We are sentient. We don't just think. We feel. We actually experience the world through our bodies. Despite this, we often act as if our minds and bodies are separate things, as if our minds are balloons on the end of a string, which we hold slightly apart from us. It's why we say, I have a body, rather than I am a body. And so even as the world becomes increasingly connected through technology, as people, we're becoming increasingly disconnected, not only from each other, but from ourselves and from the actual world. If I only had a heart. Hi there, I'm Crazy Conspiracy Dude, your pre-apocalyptic source for post-apocalyptic information, using digital media to prepare for the collapse or ascendance of digital technologies. This is the art of the apocalypse.
You're listening to Radio Free Apocalypse.
Robotics engineers discovered long ago that the hard problems are actually the easy ones, and the easy problems are the hard ones. Paradoxically, it turned out to be fairly straightforward to create programs that can do complex mathematics, or play chess, or fly airplanes, but surprisingly difficult to make a robot that can walk downstairs or open a door. So to defend ourselves against AI, it's critical to become aware of and to cultivate our embodiedness. It's hard to be smarter than a computer these days, but it's so easy to be more human. In the 17th century, Descartes arrived at his famous conclusion, I think, therefore I am. With this, Descartes paved the way for the Enlightenment, which viewed the mind as being on a separate and higher plane of existence than the body. The rational, logical mind, then, was expected to control the base instincts of the animalistic body, as if there was a tiny person who lived in our brains and controlled our bodies and told us what we should do. There's one problem with Descartes' theory. It's entirely wrong. But an even bigger problem is that Western civilization was built on this dangerously flawed idea. As a result, whole societies have become out of touch with reality. Our bodies are basically viewed as transportation for our heads, as Ken Robinson put it, a way of getting our heads to meetings. But the body thinks. The body learns. Our bodies know many things that our minds do not. But even to speak of a mind and a body is misleading. The brain and the body are connected through the central nervous system, which extends to the very tips of us. The body is the mind. The mind is the body. Descartes' ideas were challenged even during his own time. Spinoza proposed that intellectual activity followed physical activity. In the late 19th century, Spinoza's argument was advanced by the James Lange theory, which argued that bodily changes directly follow the perception of an exciting fact, and our feeling of those changes as they occur is the emotion. Common sense says we lose our fortune, are sorry and weep. We meet a bear, are frightened and run. We are insulted by a rival, are angry and strike. This order of sequence is incorrect. The more rational statement is that we feel sorry because we cry, angry because we strike, afraid because we tremble. In other words, by the time we rationally realized that we were being chased by a bear, we would have already run several meters. If we had to think about running from the bear first, we wouldn't get very far. This counterintuitive understanding, which seems almost to run in a reverse causal direction, has been consistently confirmed by neuroscience, which, in the notorious free will experiments, finds that a person's brain commits to physical actions before the person becomes aware of having made the decision to act. In other words, although it may feel as though we intentionally willed an action. That feeling is often an after-the-fact narrative created by our minds. In reality, our thoughts played no role in producing that behavior. In a sense, we're leaves falling into a river, saying to ourselves, I chose to fall off the branch. I chose to fall into the river. I chose to float downstream. Think of a number between 1 and 10, and repeat that number to yourself mentally. If you are like most people, you're thinking of the number 7. Why 7? Well, it has more associations than other numbers. It has a coolness factor. It's not too close to the beginning or the middle or the end. Who knows? And some people choose 3. And maybe you're one of those weirdos who chooses 2 or even 1, although I did say between 1 and 10. But if you're like most people, you are drawn to 7 like a magnet. If so, was that your choice? I'm not saying that we don't have free will. Of course we do. Right now, I could choose to say something totally random. Butterscotch. That wasn't scripted. What I'm saying is that our bodies, our unconscious or intuitive thought processes, not to mention external socio-political contexts and influences, play a far greater role in our decision-making than it might seem. And the imaginary division between our mental and physical selves prevents us from being intuitively present, both in our bodies and in the world. Sometimes if I'm at a conference or something and I'm bored, I start to, doodle in my notebook. The first thing I do is a little scribble in the corner to see if the pen is working, and then I just draw a picture of a house or something. So the scribble is really the most interesting part, because the scribble was made completely freely, without any thought about how to draw or what to draw, or any self-consciousness about my drawing skills. The scribble was entirely intuitive. It wasn't driven by logic or by mental exertion. This is the real secret of intuition. A cat doesn't think about jumping. A cat has an impulse to jump and jumps at the exact same time. Using your intuition is listening to your body. Now, since in many cases our thoughts actually follow our actions, it means we can reverse engineer this process. By changing our actions, we can disrupt or redirect unhelpful thought patterns. Aristotle argued as much when he wrote, "That which we wish to become, we become by doing." This idea has entered into the mainstream in the expression, "fake it until you make it." This expression is quite rightly the motto of Alcoholics Anonymous. And before that, the words were first written in the autobiography of an infamous con man. But in whatever the context, the idea is a powerful one. The brain is plastic. This means that when we change our behaviors, we reprogram our minds. So it is doubly true, as the Greek philosopher Heraclitus wrote, we can never step in the same river twice. The river will never be the same, of course, but also neither will we. It can be very helpful to change your thinking, but it can be equally helpful to change your actions. There's a growing body of evidence to suggest that simple physical actions are a quick, easy, and powerful way to change how you think and feel. This means that if you spend long periods of time online or in virtual worlds, it might be very helpful to unplug for a while and connect with the actual world. Step away from the illusion. Do some yoga, some tai chi, juggle some apples, bake some bread, learn a magic trick, read a book with pages, put together a puzzle, listen to the birds, jump in a puddle, walk in the rain, create something beautiful. And if you want to get zen about it, destroy it and start over again. What you choose to do is up to you, but do something in the real world. And that's all for today, Apocalypse Scouts. To earn your virtual merit badge on the human body, do something you haven't done before and see what happens. For example, if you haven't hit the like and subscribe buttons yet, give it a try. Now let's repeat the Apocalypse Scouts oath. Hope for the best. Prepare for the apocalypse. I'll be back. And remember, Think locally, act apocalyptically.
Beep beep, boop boop, juggling apples. Beep beep, boop boop. Juggling apples. Beep beep, boop boop. Must destroy humanity. Ha 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 ha.